As you can see, Sam, there's already hundreds of migrants congregating here outside of Sacred Heart Church in downtown El Paso. Where I'm standing actually used to be a studio apartment, and you can see the wall is completely gone. As a volunteer, you'll be doing a variety of activities, from feeding the dogs to walking the dogs. The Humane Society says anything that you can offer helps them out. Marking the 80th anniversary of D-Day, celebrating the American heroes of World War II. You have a chance to win this motorcycle. Now, I promise I'm not stealing it. Went back into the apartment complex where he is a resident, grabbed a rifle, came back out here and shot Ramirez. And all of this was caught on surveillance footage. There's a home just to the left of this, and that's where Eduardo says his brother Manuel lived and where he died. But you can see many of them are still living in these conditions. Investment advisor Brian Myro joins me live today to discuss. Brian, thank you so much for joining us. And what should we be prepared for as we approach a Fed meeting next week? And by the most recent fiscal year, that number was almost 3 times the amount it was in 2010. But how does that compare to what you make? Let's take a look. The median U.S. income is $25,000. When the president came to tour, what Escobar says is almost $700 million in renovations.
It's going to impact the whole industry.
Teto Medina is the sales barn manager and auctioneer for the Santa Teresa livestock auction. He gave me a tour of their ranch.
This is kind of like the Wall Street report for the cattle industry.
Have you noticed any changes in the prices and in the numbers in general because of what's going on in Texas?
Well, eventually, I think it's kind of like the tsunami effect.
Teto predicts that tsunami effect will spill over into here.
This right here is the auction floor.
274 down for 5, taking a bid 5, sold the cattle at 275.
Teto tells me this is where buyers come to sit and make their bids. But those bids are rising, meaning the price of the food on your plate could too.
I think that buyers will be the ones most impacted because they're going to be paying a little bit more for the cattle because there's going to be a little less cattle. And we're already in a cattle shortage cycle.
Ranchers are also expected to pay more to feed their cattle because the wildfires destroyed cows' food. Santa Teresa livestock auction is right on the border wall. There's a gate over here where cattle cross into the U.S. and ranchers on either side aren't allowed to cross.
The cattle that you see here are coming from Mexican ranchers.
Teto says that means their supply isn't affected.
The ranchers are going to be impacted in a positive way, minus the ones that have gone through the wildfires.
But those that saw their ranches burned to the ground are the ones that will need to rebuild. Teto tells me there are ways the community can help. If you want to donate, you can find more information on our website, kvia.com. Reporting from Santa Teresa with our New Mexico Mobile Newsroom, I'm Kerry Mannix, ABC 7. You have nowhere else to go?
Nope. Just woke up and saw this under the door.
Lloyd Lacey Jr. wasn't the only tenant to wake up with this eviction notice on their door. The bright colored forms littering Gateway Hotel's hallways and providing some direction if tenants wind up homeless. Some residents saying if they're forced from their homes and not reimbursed, they'll seek legal action.
That's why I paid for 4 months in advance to give me that buffer zone, because I just didn't know that it was going to happen this quick.
Other tenants said they too expected this.
We had the influx of migrants come in and it got progressively worse, and they just overran the building.
The hotel's owner, Howard Young, and other hotel staff acknowledge there are Venezuelan migrants living at the hotel. But I asked more specifically, were there gang members ever living there?
We don't know if it's a whole gang. I don't think so.
But the majority of residents I spoke to say they do think so.
They overran our building, and unfortunately, they ran us into the ground.
I just want to show you some of the conditions that people were living in, and they say it wasn't like this long ago. You can see that there are splatters. Something dried up there. We're not sure what it is, but there are splatters all around this area onto this wall. It appears to be red, brownish, dried. Seems like something splattered across this wall. You can also see that some of the mattresses that are out here, a lot of mattresses, junk just in this area, and you can see that there are slashes in some of these mattresses. You can hear that there is music playing. There are people living still on the first and second floors despite police presence today. But when I go up to the third floor, This is where owners tell me that they're no longer allowed to have habitants. You can see this door, it was already open when we came up here. It looks like it was recently inhabited. There are shoes on the floor, the air conditioner still running, the bathroom lights still on. We also noticed on this floor, something we didn't see on the other floors, that there are security cameras and use signs. You can see that security camera right there. That security camera caught several images of busy hallways this summer, including this one, where the man in the middle appears to have blood on his shoulder. Tenant Louis Scarcelli told me scenes like this are why he left. So you were literally run out of your home?
Yes, I was.
He said it started when he was asked not to allow other people in the building access to the roof.
But as you can see, they just busted the lock open and they gained access to the roof right through this area. And they threw one of those 5-gallon paint tubs at me right down here from up there, and I just barely missed me. And I backed up to my room, and then like 3 or 4 of them came to this point, and they tried to hit me with a crowbar. They were threatening me.